Nobody could come up with a better way to describe it. The world was dying. Monsters arose from the lands. The land quaked. The seas roiled and the air was choked with fire and smoke. Our lands were killing us. Our homes were being destroyed. And the priests prayed. And the machinists worked. And those who could do neither merely waited. And then the flock appeared on the horizon. Like a great swarm, they blotted out the sun as they moved closer. A great armada of colossal, slow-moving creatures, larger than continents, some gliding through the air, some coasting through the seas. Their forms were all different, some looking like ancient creatures told of in books, some as creatures we knew and saw in our daily life, and some as great foreign bodies no man could make sense of. And when they stopped at our land, as if waiting for us, we knew they were our only chance. We left our dying land and boarded the flock. Once we boarded, we found that we weren't the only ones who were being driven from our lands. Entire civilizations had already been built atop these creatures. Vast cities and structures mounted on their backs or hanging from their sides and bodies. And the peoples and civilizations were there to greet, commiserate with, or plot against us. We built what we could, and joined them as the flock prepared to leave our dead country, presumably for yet dying lands. We weren't the first of the passengers, and from the sounds of things, we wouldn't be the last. We set our scene on the 80th of Somani, the final day for the descent to Hackledown. Through extraordinary circumstances, an unlikely alliance formed. A small group with the power to save the world or to destroy it. What they would choose, only time would tell.
Finding Rahaavi Merari was proving to be very difficult. I had spent my day running from place to place, following word of Merari's travel, in hopes of catching up with him as I'd been ordered. To think, my very first descent, and I'd been tasked with protecting one of the other esteemed Killerinn. That didn't stop him from being hard to find, though. Still, after a great deal of unnecessary travel, I spotted Merari at the platform station, ready to board for the descent. He wasn't hard to pick out of the crowd. A Killerinn in royal blue robes, antlers easy to spot from a distance. He spotted me as I hurried on, glancing back to his companions in question as I approached.
Does someone here have a friend to join us? I see someone running towards us.
Well, we're hardly the only volunteers on the flock.
Rahaavi! Excuse me, please! I was worried I would miss you. I've been looking all over for you. You wouldn't believe. My name is Rahmi Romazi, and I've been sent by Rizea Faurik to look after you during the descent. It's a dangerous trip, especially on the last day, and he decided you could use the help. It's very nice to meet you.
Oh, one of Faurik's. Well, if he told me, I would have tried to stay available. But I'm sure he didn't have the time. Glad you're joining us.
I was rather under the impression that Faurik fellow wants you dead.
Please, we're not like the other races. I don't recall Rizea attacking myself.
Who's Faurik?
An entirely unpleasant man, by all accounts.
My boss.
Well, strength in numbers, one supposes.
Merari's a Killerinn. He and some other Killerinn are high-ranking folks in the Iriani government. Faurik's one of them.
Don't misunderstand Tikos' opinion. I merely do my duty to my people. It is not as if I control or lead a section of the government myself.
Rizea isn't so bad once you get to know him. And he's just doing what he thinks is best. Either way, I'm sure I can be of help to you. All of you. Actually, Rizea didn't say there would be so many of you.
Well, the more the merrier, right?
There's also another saying about too many cooks in the kitchen.
Actually, if it's not too much trouble, could I know your names? I watched as, grudgingly, the woman who commented on our numbers raised a hand in greeting. She had pale skin and long black hair that was tied up with a red ribbon, and red eyes so full of thought that I wondered what the world might have shown her to make her gaze so intense.
I'm Tikos Krymmonas, and this havoc here is named Skylos.
Tikos gestured to a robotic dog, known as a havoc, which I had missed upon my arrival. Despite a large sword protruding from its back, it seemed to be just fine, tail wagging pleasantly as I nodded to it. Aw, hi boy. Before I could ask further, the orcish woman with green eyes leaning on the rail gave me a lazy wave. Her blonde hair was messy, ruffled but stylish, and overall she looked to be very strong.
Vanami Argyris.
That was apparently all she had to offer on the subject of herself. Her attention wandering from me to pat the middle dog. Not that I could blame her. I barely even noticed when the youngest of the group snuck up to me, gazing up at me with bright brown eyes, her black hair pulled back and up into a ponytail. She couldn't have been older than 16.
Call me Kid.
A fitting name.
It's nice to meet.
My name is Mozena.
This woman, with intriguing blue swirls on her face and blonde hair styled in an undershave, barely seemed to notice when she interrupted the girl, Kid. Her green eyes were locked onto me, and had been since I'd arrived. Suspicious of me? I couldn't be sure. As Kid had diverted her attention from me already, I looked away to see, lastly, an Eoseth. A strange animated cloak with a golden mask for a head, eyes and mouth glowing a light blue color.
I live in a library.
Clearly, he was not all there at the moment. I'm sure it must be a very nice library if it means you put it before telling me your name, friend.
My name is Vagrant Gnosis.
Well, it's wonderful to meet all of you. I returned my gaze back to Merari, a warm smile on my face as I bowed to him once more.
Thank you for joining your strength with us, Rahmi.
Of course, Rahaavi. I'll do whatever I can to be of use.
You can just call me Merari, if you wish.
I can do that if it makes you more comfortable, Merari. I noticed then nearby Merari was a green snake, with small arms and wings as well. It had to be Merari's Eidolon, a close companion to the Killerin. Merari noticed me watching the Eidolon, for he beckoned it closer.
This is my stronger half, Vespasian.
Oh, hello, Vespasian. The Eidolon simply nodded, watching me with small, bright eyes. It gave a soft hiss, and I nodded my head in acknowledgement.
Has Fauric informed you of the ritual we're to perform? Luck has chosen the Cathedral of Gears as our destination.
Yes. He didn't tell me much about the ritual, but one of my friends made it. He sent me to give you aid and protect you. But it seems like you have a lot of friends to help you with that already. I'm a little surprised.
I'd be more likely to call them as, well, allies, brought by happenstance. Mosiah only told me the minimal outline, I suspect. I wasn't given much detail on the ritual itself.
He's not very good at giving details, is he? He didn't offer much to me either, but I guess as long as you're kept safe and we get the job done, he'll be satisfied.
I see. Exactly how long have you worked for Fauric?
Oh. Maybe a few years. But it's hard to keep track of time when I'm always working.
I can imagine he's full of endless tasks.
There's always something to do. That's why it's sort of nice to get out like this. Even if we are going down there.
Well, the view isn't the best down there, but it's nice to remember what it felt like to walk on land. We won't have much time, but if we're lucky, we might see some wild vegetation.
Is that so? Then I guess we'll have something to look forward to. Great thinking. The rest of our ride down was uneventful. While the group didn't go out of their way to avoid me, it seemed like they didn't have much interest in giving me their focus either. Distracted by my own thoughts, I became briefly separated from the group and ended up in conflict with a few demons, only returning just in time to find them speaking with a Warforged cleric.
We were sent here to save whoever and whatever we could.
Is this also true of him?
Hello!
Huh?
Wait up!
Oh, I didn't realize we lost track of him.
Yeah, he's with us. He just had something else to do while we healed the havoc.
Hi. Sorry for disappearing. There were some demons at the back, so I took care of them.
By yourself?
I suppose covering our flank from an undetected enemy is a rather convenient excuse. though one that is greatly appreciated.
You see?
I do.
Oh, excuse me. Don't let me interrupt your conversation.
Regardless, we must stay until more help arrives. We cannot abandon the original, and we cannot extract it with our might alone. If you have no means to help us, you would be better served by aiding the remaining Gnomish.
We have all intentions of staying and helping.
We may be able to assist in the extraction. I understand you're a fervor, but surely you realize this isn't a position you can hold long term, sir.
We must. If the possibility remains that further help will arrive, or some magical means of transportation, then we will ready ourselves and wait. If you wish momentary shelter, then we will take you within where it is safe, for the moment.
Perhaps then, will you allow me to perform transcriptions of your holy texts, Archhand? In the event something is left behind, you understand. I'm a scholar, you see.
Our texts are the words of creation left to us by the Gnomish builders. You may read them as you please.
And if you wouldn't mind, I would appreciate a holy symbol of the machine spirit from a cleric.
We require our symbols in order to control the spirit's power.
Oh? And what will happen when you leave? If they're used to control the spirit's power, would they still work above the lands?
Yes. All clerics of the spirit may channel its power through these pieces of its body.
Sir, I regret to inform you that the sky creatures we come from, this is the last day they'll be able to vacate more of the Hacklish people. We have no control over when they stay or go. We only know when they'll be moving on, and that day is today. If you don't leave with us, there's a strong possibility that there won't be anyone else after us to help. But we're committed to helping you in any way we can.
I can no longer determine the time of day. How much time remains?
We left early in the morning. I'd estimate it's been a few hours since then, between the walk-in and contending with the demons. At best, we have less than a full day.
Then aid is still possible.
I believe the others' attention may be elsewhere, sir. There were rumors that this cathedral had already fallen, and the other rescue parties may have decided to have their forces go elsewhere as a result. I know that one of our superiors, of sorts, also considered we might go to a foundry instead of the Cathedral of Gears. Unless you have a way of sending up a signal, they may have assumed this place is lost already.
We have little except the cathedral and the pillar within.
But doesn't your dog have laser eyes or something? All good robot dogs have those, right? I bet they'd see that.
Dev is a prototype Havoc Elite. It is equipped only for combat utility, and it appears to have been incapacitated.
Look, not to rain on anyone's parade here, but there were demons pretty fucking close by as it is. It's not gonna be too long before a group finds its way here, too. We can stand around talking all we want, but it's not gonna solve much of anything.
Yes. The next wave will appear in approximately 1 hour. We must make ready our defenses. In the meantime, you may enter and decide your next course of action.
An hour? That's not as much time as I'd want, depending on how large the wave is.
Anywhere from a small band to a proper horde going by accounts.
Come on, let's not divide their attention, huh? We need to figure out what to do, like he said.
Yeah, let's go.
Wait, I've got it! We could call for help using a smoke signal!
The sky's a little hazy for that, isn't it? In truth, the entire sky was dark with smog.
Oh. Never mind on that one.
It was a nice thought.
I'd have to head into the cathedral for the ritual at any rate. I'm not sure how much time I could spare to help fortify this place if we don't find a way to signal anyone else.
As we made our way towards the doors of the cathedral, strange, sickly-colored rain began to pour from the dark red and yellow clouds above our heads. The air around us grew suddenly colder for it, as though the bleakness of the situation had extended to the very environment around us.
Ah, not rain.
Oh, this is promising. The ambiance now truly fits the situation.
Hey, we should really get inside. With another storm brewing above our heads, we followed the Warforged clerics into the cathedral.
This is the Cathedral of Gears. The machine spirit awaits at the apex.
Even with the dismal atmosphere that surrounded our group, the inside of the cathedral was a sight to behold. A massive staircase wound around the inside, spiraling in angular flights up each side, with altars at every right angle. Along the corners were stained glass windows with angular, abstract, monochromatic patterns that ran almost all the way up to the ceiling. For all the people who had thought the place gone, it was proving to be in pretty good shape. In the center stood a massive pillar, presumably the cathedral's main support, and from it we could hear metallic clicking, gears like a clock turning incessantly. Shield 1 led us all on as our group stared with awe at the building before us.
Is this a cathedral or a clock?
Could be both.
Just as well the portal is nearer to the ground floor. Just climbing up a story looks like it would take an hour.
Portal? The portal is positioned directly over the peak. However, nothing has emerged from it yet.
Over the peak? I was told it was a level below the ground floor. And considering previous experience, is anyone stationed there just in case something tries coming through?
Merari.
Below this floor lies the foundation for the pillar. It was a room of supports that existed during the initial construction of the cathedral. It is now no longer accessible, as there is nothing there but the pillar's initial grounding point.
I see.
Not one step into the cathedral and already we were proving ourselves to be more selfish than altruistic. Can we let go of that for a sec and figure out what we're gonna do first? Because if there's gonna be another wave of demons in an hour, the last thing we need to get involved in is something that might take a while. Following Shield 1, we began to climb the staircase in silence, trying to think of ways we could find more help for the upcoming battle. Outside, things only looked bleak. Rain still pouring and Warforged attempting to find a plan of attack that would protect the cathedral. After some climbing, Shield 1 turned to speak with us once more.
Please make yourselves comfortable. I will ascend to tend to the spirit. Please call on me if there is anything further you require.
Anyone have a really big flashlight we could shine through those windows? I was thinking maybe if we had something bright enough to shine through them, wouldn't it make a colorful pattern in the sky? They might investigate.
Makes sense to me.
Would they see it through the smog?
We could break them. I mean, they're gonna get destroyed soon anyways, right? But with everything going on and the distance, they might not hear.
I liked your other idea more. It's not very big, but I have a lamp. Maybe we can find a way to use that.
A lamp is a start.
While the others continued in their efforts to find a way to help, I took Merari aside for a moment to speak with them. Hey, Merari, if you were facing an impending hellspawn attack, would you want to hear some people you just met are thinking of opening another portal that hellspawn might have come from? Just let them think we're here to help, yeah? It'll make things go a lot easier till we figure this out.
We don't know that's the purpose. Fauric might not be a likable person, but Killoran would have no intention of helping demons spawn in any way. But fine. Anything to keep the peace among friends.
Out of the corner of my eye, I caught Vanami glaring at me, separated from the other conversation and listening in on Merari and I. I turned to fix her with a glare of my own. What? I explained about Fauric to you on the platform.
Yeah, you didn't tell me we'd be doing the same fucking thing as him. Whatever. We're here. Too late to bitch about it. I'm not gonna fight you over it.
I'm not keen on it either. And this isn't about what Fauric is and isn't doing. It's about how these Warforged will perceive it. I'd love it if we could just evacuate them and go home, but Merari won't want to go back empty-handed. Right?
No. Everyone has people they must accommodate, and Fauric has a great deal of influence.
See, so I just say we put off the portal business for now and deal with the most pressing thing first. We figure out the portal after we get these Warforged in a situation where they won't die within the next hour. Morality aside, if their defenses fail, we'll be next. So, we have a fight or flight scenario here, and we should figure out a way to signal the other rescue parties. Deal?
I was hardly intending to leave them to their fate. But I did get impatient. I wanted this over with first, but You're right that we don't know the exact consequences of the ritual.
It's all right. Really, I get what you mean with wanting to get it out of the way. We're on a strict time limit. With Merari addressed, I returned my attention to the group, who were still making a sad attempt at finding a way to contact outside help. Well, I think everyone's basically in agreement that we're, gonna stay and help.
Yes, we can't just leave them here after coming all this way.
Right. They need us. We can't just go now. And as long as we're all together, I know it'll be fine.
Whatever you say, boss. I'm just here to get paid.
I have a very healthy interest in continuing to live. So, yes.
I suppose if we're going to fight, at least we have a relatively defensible position.
All right. So our best bet is either finding a way to signal the other rescue parties, or finding something that might help us defend the cathedral. Let's put our heads together. Personal differences set aside for the moment, we set to work trying to find our own plan of attack. Unfortunately, though, as the minutes ticked by and the end of the hour drew closer, we found ourselves with only one option: to stand and fight alongside the Warforged to save the cathedral.
Perhaps we could gain the attention of a search party with a spell or an alarm of some sort.
Unfortunately, distance presents an issue. Even with an enhancement, magic can only reach so far.
Why aren't the rescue parties here in the first place? You'd think with a thing this tall, they'd be able to tell it wasn't completely in shambles.
Wish I could tell you, except that it'd make our jobs a lot easier if they could. With no better plan than helping to defend the Warforged, we began to head for the outside once more when we heard a thud from above us. One that seemed to come from the top floor.
Oh my.
I'm gonna check that out. Without waiting, I began to rush up the stairs, footsteps behind me indicating that at least some of our group was following. As we approached, Shield One poked his head out from the final stairwell, still half in the upper floor.
You're moving quickly. Is there something you require?
Heard a noise. A loud thud. Did something happen up here? I was worried it was demons attacking or something, since you said a portal's up there.
It could be the portal about to peak.
No. The rift would make a low humming noise and pulse with light. You asked for a holy symbol of the spirit. I have taken a piece from its third remaining finger. Will this suffice?
Truly. Well, thank you, Shield One. I had thought with what the Archhand said, it would take more discussion than this. Not to dismiss your kindness.
He merely said that it is how we channel our power. We carry the pieces of our god with us. Now we number few. Wider dispersion suggests that the spirit will have a greater chance of surviving us. Such is true in nature and with artifice.
Would the Archhand agree?
Yes.
Well, if you're sure, I'd be glad to accept it.
Any chance of there also being a piece I could see? Or was that the last one?
If you wish to see the machine spirit, you may.
Oh, thanks. Well, that's, hellish.
As the Warforged stood aside, I saw at last with my own two eyes the machine spirit. A 20-foot-tall mass of metal, gleaming arcane devices, and strange protrusions with a skeletal shape atop it. Whatever arms it might have had were long gone. The blue sockets empty and smooth. However, its hands laid on the ground on either side of it, both in steadily greater states of disrepair, and each about the size of a person. But, more worryingly, its front was covered in strange red pustules. Apart from being disgusting, they looked unsettlingly organic. Shield One gestured up to the top of it, continuing to speak.
Before it lay attached to the pillar. After the first demon attack, the Hellspawn did something to interfere with its holy power, and so we raised it to the heights for its safety. Then our own numbers were decimated in the next wave.
Looking at the pustules, I noticed that they were pulsing slightly. Rather than being burned away instantly by being on the bodily form of a god, they appeared to be draining away divine power from it, or sapping its properties somehow. Fascinating. And hellish indeed.
Those, they sure look...
Organic?
That's a way of putting it. Sure.
Has no one found a way to clear whatever the Hellspawn did?
No. I do not know what they have done to it. With the spirit safely here, we cannot even use the pillar.
Use?
When the machine spirit is in contact with the pillar, we may use the various altars about the cathedral to invoke various functions of the pillar. We read aloud the celestial writing, place a hand upon the altar, and then the spirit's energy causes the pillar to react. Now that they are no longer in contact, however, the pillar is inoperable.
It's fascinating. Pustules that are evidently organic in origin on a machine spirit. Very curious indeed. They're active as well. I assume the pustules weren't present before the attack, correct?
Correct. They were placed as a result of hellish intervention.
And they appear to still be draining the machine spirit.
And efforts to remove the pustules.
We have tried. They consumed Staff 54. He was dissolved immediately, as if by acidic energy. We cannot touch them. An intervention by use of outside tools or projectiles appears to only cause them to churn. There seem to be objects inside of them, though we cannot determine what.
Someone talk me out of this. I should not, in fact, apply spells to the machine spirit to see if I can affect whatever's ailing it.
I would really prefer if you didn't. I can't exactly protect you if you're being, consumed.
Tense silence overtook the room at that. Each person lost in thought. Even if we did want to do something for the machine spirits, shouldn't it wait until the fight was over? With time quickly running out, the others returned downstairs to exit the cathedral. It would better to be out there fighting than to be inside doing nothing when the time came. Dispirited, the others stepped outside. But as they went, I stayed behind, both to further examine the machine spirits and to speak with Shield 1. Would you be alright if I cast a detect magic spell on the machine spirits to try and help diagnose this problem?
If you desire it.
Thank you. Despite my casting, the spirit showed no signs of magic. However, neither did the hellish pustules. It seemed to me that both elements were at equal grades of magic power. You may be in for quite about to remove those, though I suspect you're already aware of that.
Thus do we await assistance.
Assistance? From who?
The army of the figures from the sky. The ones like us. And like you.
Oh. But today is your last chance. We have no way to control where we go. Today is the last day we'll be able to come here, and I'm not sure we'll be able to rescue you all today.
Then you may abscond on your own. Dying for a cause, like many things, is a luxury mostly afforded to the born. Where we lack meaning, we must create it.
I could feel my heart sink at Shield 1's words. Cold no longer only due to the weather. I wish you the best of luck. Know that if we do leave you here today, and if we are able to return, I will try to find this place. I will set right what I may not be able to today. And if I cannot even do that, I will do my best to ensure that you will not be forgotten.
If it pleases you. Many things are ending. In the face of much greater losses, we will pass peacefully into obscurity, as all before us have. That, too, is a privilege.
Oh, I am glad. You have found, well, perhaps not found, I'm not sure. But I hope you will not fade away. It seems unfair. I suppose many things are in this world, and yet I cannot help but be certain each day that I found a new, true injustice. I will do my best to correct yours. Though he did not respond with words, the silence between Shield 1 and I seemed more companionable after that. But after a time, I knew there was no more I could do for him. I suppose I should prepare with the others, begin to make good on this promise. With one final glance back, I made my way for the stairs, leaving Shield 1 behind in the cathedral.
inside, the Warforged are setting up furniture into barricades. But from the looks of it, they still didn't really know what to do. The rain was still pouring, and with no sign of letting up as time passed.
Anyone ever studied tactics?
As luck would have it. Glad to put my knowledge to use. I helped the Warforged in basic planning, instructing them on where to move the furniture and how. Our final formation had the sides of the entrance blocked completely, leaving choke points at the end of the entryway for defenders to strike out and cover. I led the direction, darting this way and that as the Warforged obeyed my orders. It's a pity we don't have anything more substantial. A few good wizards with some conjuring experience.
Guess you're the boss now, huh? I'll follow your lead, Gnosis.
I'll have your front with my crossbow.
I've got my slingshot.
We can do this. As long as we all work together, everything will be fine. I'm sure of it.
As much as I doubted that, there was no reason to shoot him down. The Warforged had gone almost completely still in the rain, watching ahead with weapons at the ready. I glanced back as Mara emerged from within the cathedral, joining us for the battle. Any luck with the spirit?
None.
With everyone finally gathered, our group followed suit with the Warforged. The world at a silent standstill, as the portal before us threatened to open at any minute. Then suddenly...
Listen.
The Archhand raised his sword, and we heard it. A low humming. A faint red light began cresting the plateau. The ground beneath our feet, shaking almost imperceptibly.
Ah, shit. There's the portal going off. Get ready!
Please, don't let this be for nothing.
There was one final moment of silence in the rain. And then... they emerged.
Crimson lights, the sky, the birds still asleep. Like a dream, it shines from heaven's safe keep. Children's songs we sung, as soft as the breeze, and this feels our home. I long for those days. I call out these prayers to the sky, heavy with thought. See your face. I carry these memories inside, thoughts of a soul colored by love. See me grow wings and fly high, passions will die down below. I burn in a basin of fire, watchers look on as they dance in the merciless sky, watching me, watching me.